stream. Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time of day it is for you. I've forgotten what episode number this is, but
34, I think.
There you go. Nearly as old as you, right, Chunt?
Yeah, almost.
Just almost. So it's been quite a newsy week, boys. We've got quite a newsy show today. Leave the fluff at home. The fluffy episodes are usually Dan's ones.
Yeah, that's mine.
We'll get into the detail and the nit and the grit, talk about some rubbish that's going on in the industry as normal, even though we try to be positive about things. Let's see if we can put some positive spins on some stuff. But first off, intros round, what we've been playing, all that kind of jazz. Dan, you doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I tried to play a few different things this week. No 2K. I think I'm actually done with 2K until the next gen console arrives. I'm going to be like, you know what? There's a couple weeks left. I can find other things to play.
Yep.
That doesn't mean I'm not playing sport though, because I am playing Madden, but even that I have reduced. I'm essentially just playing the week to week, you know, when my brother plays a game, I can play my game type stuff. So I just jump on the PlayStation, play a game, and then I jump on these two new games that I started. One which I've played before, another one which I've always been interested in playing, I just haven't. So the one I've played before, Sleeping Dogs, I downloaded that again and played the first 2 hours, and it's so much fun beating the shit out of people in that game. I think the last time when I played it up to the point where you get a gun, and then I was like, well, this takes the fun out of it. But I'm going to try and get through. I looked it up on that. I can't remember what the name of the website's called. How Long to Beat, I think, is the website. And it only takes about like 15 hours or 15 and a half hours to beat it. So
Nice.
That might be a good, you know, small open world crime game, because that's kind of been the theme of these last couple of months. But that might be something I can get through just before PlayStation 5 comes. The other one was MLB The Show 19. Now I sort of watch baseball here and there. The World Series just ended, but I thought I'd give the show a go, because you know it's going to every console, I think, either next year or the year after, because of that baseball announcement. So I thought I'd give it a go, and I don't know what I was expecting, but I'm actually pretty impressed. I think because in my mind, the sports games that I mostly play is like NBA 2K and Madden, both of which have monopolies on that area. It's like, even though FIFA is clearly huge, you still have Pro Evolution there to at least compete with it. NBA Live from EA, they've skipped another year because they basically just said the next one they're making is just going to be for the next gen. They're not even worrying about it for current gen anymore. So it was interesting to see the show and see, as a Sony property, the fact that they would never get as many sales as they would like Madden or 2K, because it's only on the one console. So I don't know what I was expecting. I thought it'd be worse than it actually is, and it's actually pretty impressive. I'm doing their My Player version, and I love one of the things is that you get to build up like camaraderie in the clubhouse, and you go from like unfamiliar to whatever the middle one is, and then at the end, when you're fully friends with the person, you're bros. So I'm totally going to become a bro with somebody. It's very exciting. Nice. The batting, I struggle with the timing, so I need to practice that. But basically, I've just gone in as a pitcher and I'm pitching, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, so playing another PlayStation exclusive this week. But yeah, that's all for me for now.
Timed exclusive, a very long timed exclusive, as the franchise that moves multiplayer.
Yeah, well now, yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for it to go everywhere, really.
more people playing games is better for games. And for us, Chunt, how has your week been and what have you been playing?
Look, I've just been playing a whole lot of ukuleles and lalies and all that stuff. The first one, I got about halfway through and I was like, I'm kind of done with it, which I was a bit surprised. I know it was a Kickstarter game or whatever, and it reached all kinds of goals and stuff, but you can tell like it could have done with a bit more time in the oven or development resources and stuff. But I'm actually surprised at how well the game came together. But yeah, I just kind of checked out on it and moved on to the sequel, The Impossible Lair. And it's a vastly superior game, like vastly. I couldn't believe it. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's Team 17 built this one instead of Playtonics. And Team 17, they ported over the Xbox and PS4 versions, I think, of the original ukulele. So they weren't strangers to it, but it's very much like if you played Donkey Kong Country Returns on Wii and Tropical Freeze. It's very much in that vein, and it's one of the best platformers so far that I've played this gen, like one of those 2D platformer style things. Yeah, very, very some of the levels are a bit challenging, and the overworld map has a lot of puzzles and stuff to progress and open up the map and overworld. Yeah, I can't wait to just finish that one. I'm really enjoying that. That's pretty much it. I've just been bouncing between giving both of those games a bit of time because they're two titles I've always wanted to put some time into. And yeah, that's all I've really been playing. I'm still waiting for that controller support on Android for Genshin Impact. I know that 1.1 updates next month sometime, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's my gaming week done.
Not too bad of a gaming week, playing all your little platforming dudes.
Yes.
Rather than your dude bros.
Oh wait, Dan, I've got to ask a question. We were talking about sleeping dogs.
Yeah.
So you recommend it? Because I got it for free on Games with Gold a while back, like years ago. And I've kind of always installed it and then uninstalled it because I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. No, I won't.
I'd really recommend it. It's one of my favorite like gangster based games. You'd like the setting. The Japanese setting is pretty cool. I played it on PS3 like way back when they gave it away with PlayStation Plus.
Yeah. I've got it on my Xbox One catalog, and after like playing Yakuza, I'm like, oh god damn, it kind of remembered me.
Yeah, it's better than Yakuza in my opinion.
Yeah. So I was thinking of you. I was thinking of you during the week as well, Chan.
You were touching yourself.
Yakuza is probably more over the top. Yakuza is probably more over the top. Sleeping Dogs is like you're grounded because the whole idea when you play as the main character. Also, Emma Stone is in this game. Just want to put that out there. When you play as a main character, you are you're an undercover cop coming through trying to catch the bad guys. But part of it is you are trying to do good cop things as well as things for the triads and that. So you're constantly trying to avoid getting detected.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so it's more grounded than Yakuza, which I probably appreciate more than Yakuza. Yakuza is probably a little bit more over the top for me, but it is a matter. It's a little bit in that time of probably similar to Mafia, where it is you drive around the open world. There are some side things to do, but mainly you're just going through the story and the main missions. And the writing's very strong. Like the storytelling is really good. Decent storytelling. Yeah, what have I played this week? I know I keep on saying about not playing Ultimate Team because I'm waiting for the Xbox version, but I've played a lot of Ultimate Team in the last week on PC. I'm getting to the stage of having a pretty decent team now that I'm going to be sad to leave behind because I'm only doing the EA Play thing. I didn't actually buy the game outright. I was just like, I'll get a month of EA Play and just play this while I wait for the Xbox version. But other than that, I've not really played anything else. I tried to play Football Manager. It's on Xbox Game Pass on PC, and it's just janky. I quit it out after about 10 minutes. I did download some other stuff to play, but I've not actually booted anything other than FIFA. So we may as well lead off that with a nice segue into talking about FIFA and the fact that EA have been sued finally, and they've lost, which is great.
Like they've finally been called out for their loot box bullshit, and someone is actually literally fining them, which is I think it's only the start. I think there does need to be a reform in this space. We've not talked about the whole loot box thing too much. I think it's been beaten to death, kind of across everywhere. You can't open YouTube without seeing somebody having a rant about loot boxes and how invasive and intrusive they are. But I thought this was interesting just on the basis that they have actually been fined and they have been ordered to pay a rolling amount. It's $500,000 or pounds a week. I can't remember which
Pounds.
currency the article specified.
Euros,
it was in.
sorry. Euros.
It was in Euro. Yeah, well, obviously Holland. Yeah, so 500,000 euros a week until they make changes or until they reach the cap of 5 million. And this will be ongoing on a yearly basis until EA make changes. Now, in my brain, my 2 cents of it is I don't think that they're going to change it, and I don't think they give a flying fuck. I think that they will continue to just pay the fine and continue to sell, loot boxes to children. I think that will be their mentality. They can suck that up. Ultimate Team makes 100, 200 times that a day for EA. They make an extortionate amount of money out of Ultimate Team. So I don't see them changing, but I'd be keen to get your guys' thoughts. Obviously, it's not a franchise you guys play, but you obviously understand the concept of the loot boxes, the pack openings, and all of the what's left to chance and RNG. So Chun, I'll go to you first. What do you think of EA being demanded to pay?
Rejoice. It's like start stepping up to the bully in the schoolyard. Like, no, stop being a dick. And someone's got to do it, and it just happened to be Denmark or wherever it was. And that 500,000 euro a week for 6 weeks is in addition to the 10 million euro fine. So it's not like a small amount, but I mean they could eat it, but still it's substantial enough for that the court is just like throwing out everything. I read the articles and of the judges' responses and stuff, and I was like, yeah, like these guys. They knew what was up. They sounds like they had some people on the team that had a good idea of what these loot boxes are, and I hate them. Like I just hate the whole concept. I hate that almost every game has some element of it, like as small or as big as you want to go. But I don't think there's any place for it. Like there's RNG stuff, whatever. If you're playing a game and you might, like Forza, for argument's sake, you do a little trial or whatever, and you win a spin a wheel prize, and it just rotates like a Wheel of Fortune thing, and you win a prize like money or a car. But you don't have the option to buy extra spins, at least in Forza 3. I can't recall for Forza Horizon 4, but that's okay because you're still playing the game. You'll get another spin eventually, but there's no like menu for you to go buy all these extra spins or anything like that to make you go, I'll keep buying some extra spins so I can keep unlocking stuff. Forza 7 did that. They had all this kind of monetization in it that was similar to what EA was doing as far as like paying your way through the progress of the game. But they sure as hell retracted all of that because of the feedback and backlash on it. So I think there's enough out there where a lot of developers that are smart and wary and have seen what have happened with EA. Like EA has been put in the spotlight for years doing this, and you don't see it a lot. Like there's all these established games that kind of breathe this kind of product or mentality within their development that are still around, but you got all these new games that are kind of going, ooh, I don't think I'll do that. Like I don't want that heat. Like I'm trying to build a new IP here, or I'm trying to build a successful game. I don't need the negative attention to it. Anthem was guilty of it. Like that was a bad game, and it also had elements where you could buy your way through the game and stuff. Like I just hate the concept. I don't think it should be there. Gears of War 5, Gears of War, my baby franchise that I love for like forever, as long as I can remember, has it now in its place. Like Gears 4 kind of tested the waters, and then Gears 5 went right in where you can keep buying these crates for skins and weapons and characters and try to buy your way through the battle pass. And I just think I want it all gone. I just hate it. It actually stops me wanting to play these games. It doesn't make me want to keep playing them at all. All I see is like all this stuff that's pay gated off to me that I just can't get, or I can get, but it's going to be impossible to get, So I just don't bother. And I hate that. I want to be able to go, all right, these are actually achievable. I'm not statistically handicapped at not getting these things. I just think it doesn't belong, and they'll find their money elsewhere. Make better games. Put the content in there that makes people want to buy the games and actually progress. I know that's a lot of money on the table. If I can get my bloody words out. Like they'll go down kicking and screaming because it's like hundreds of $1 million on the table that they'll be forced to walk away from. But I don't give a shit. I just want to play a game without the stuff in it, and that's the end of it. That's the basic. I'll just stop right there.
Dan, have you any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I only saw this story when you brought it up, so I didn't get to read up on the actual process. I remember them talking about it like months ago when they went to court initially. I guess the only thing I would worry about, like all EA are going to essentially do and be like, oh, all right, well, every year we got to pay that $5 million fee. We'll just put it into the profits and expenses, and that'll be it. And they make so much money off it that I don't think this is really an issue. But the only thing that came to my mind first was it's obviously not going to affect all their bigger games. I just hope that it doesn't somehow bleed down into the smaller games that they make, like the I think it's the Hazelwood developer, the Joseph Fares, the one that made A Way Out and is making another game. I think it's called It Takes Two. Like games like that, where maybe they were thinking of having the loot boxes in there, and then if EA look at it and say, well, we got the loot boxes in the game, but it's not making enough to warrant the fee that we're paying for it, so we're going to shut you down or something like that. I just don't want it to somehow have a domino effect and go down the line. That's probably the only thing that came to my mind when I read about it.
The other issue on that is they're actually breaking the law in that country. That's the other big thing, and they're like, no, we're not. We don't think we are, therefore we're good, and they're trying to come up with these bullshit, like appealing reasons back to them going, no. We think that we're expressing our creative freedom, by having such things in our games, which is absolute bullshit.
We're just making money.
Yeah, I'll pass it back to you, Jamie, so I can rant on.
I don't as somebody that is deeply invested in this franchise and has been for years, it does make a difference. As much as it's like, there's a skill gap. It's all about skill. It's not actually, these things have no value, basically, is the argument, isn't it? It's like anything you get in these packs has no value, which is false. You could easily just go into that mode with a free team, try and play somebody online and just get absolutely murdered because the cards they have better stats. Like, think of it in terms of like top trumps and things like that we've grown up around and seen. Like these cards are effectively trading cards, right? And when you can go onto an offline marketplace, and just to give some context here, so think about Chunt, you'll probably appreciate Pokemon cards growing up, right? You can probably still now, if you tried to buy a first edition, first series Charizard foil trading card online now, you would pay tens of thousands of dollars, right? That is what it would cost you. In this game, it's not even a physical product. It is a digital item that will last you 1 year until next season when they reset everybody again. The Ronaldo card, and I'm not talking about current era Ronaldo, I'm talking about Brazilian Ronaldo from, an icon card. These are selling for like $1,100 or $1,200. Do you know what I mean? Jesus. So you can't say that thing has no monetary value when an aftermarket marketplace is selling it for $1,200. Like, it's just not, it's not true. These things do have value. They do affect gameplay because of the quality and rarity of different cards. So I'm just pleased that someone's finally stuck it to them. And just while we're on loot boxes, I know I didn't put this on the docket, but I noticed something the other day when I was trolling the PlayStation store. They've updated their store, Dan, as I'm sure you've seen, for PlayStation 5. You can now pre-order PS5 games.
I've not even looked at it.
You can pre-order PS5 games digitally. The whole store's had a rework. The online the marketplace for the web version, if you go to like store.playstation.com, all changed, all new, all very singing and dancing. I clicked onto Demon Souls because I was kind of putting my cart together to see what the pre-order cost was going to be for the launch games. And I noticed that underneath the game title, they try and sell you the deluxe version, right? It's like this version has this version only has this. There are microtransaction consumables included with the deluxe version, and there is an aftermarket store for Demon Souls, which did not exist in Demon Souls. So again, it's that thing that Call of Duty did when they remastered Modern Warfare and put microtransactions in. I was really shocked to see Bluepoint doing that, but we know that it's not them, right? This is Sony going, we need to make some more money somehow. But I thought that was pretty disgusting for a single player game.
Which is really, really weird because Sony kind of doesn't really go into that space very often. Like most of their game, like we were just talking about during the week, we were talking about like Ghost of Tsushima Legends, like the fact that they just brought out a whole multiplayer thing and
it doesn't have microtransactions.
Yeah,
just like, straight up doesn't.
So that's a weird one. So I'm assuming they're trying, because Demon Souls is not like Miles Morales, which is going to both PS4 and PS5. Maybe they're trying to offset any losses that they think they might make. But I just don't like the practice at all. And I think most Sony people that are playing that game won't buy that stuff. I would also want to point out I've been playing NBA 2K for like 13 years now, NBA Live even before that. And when they brought in, I have not played one single minute in my team in 2K ever since, because I knew exactly what the whole point of my team was. And I'm like, I'm not even going to tempt fate. If I want to build a team full of some past players and some primary, I will just create it myself and play my own freaking season of it in my league. I don't need to go near my team. There's no need. I don't want to play against people anyway. So it's.
I've just tried.
Don't even touch it.
I've just pulled the store up on my phone to try and see if I can find what they called these things.
There was a talk about it. I think there was actually an article that came out about it today at some point.
Under the add-ons section, it doesn't appear to be there on the mobile app, but it was definitely there on the web store. But they're getting to the point where they're just really annoying. I don't spend money on like FIFA points per se to buy packs, because you can earn shit in game. It's a bit similar to Chunt. If you think of Destiny, you know, you get your engram drops for doing your weekly stuff and things like that. It's like you get your weekly packs for doing specific in-game things, which give you, I think, you know, if you do everything, the different modes, you'll get 9 or 10 packs a week, which is an all right return if you're playing the game religiously. But I always do make sure that I buy like the ultimate editions of the game, because you can get them cheaper by buying online codes, and they come with either points or significant like pack investment for the start of the season. So it's like, oh, you'll get 3 packs every week for 12 weeks at the start of the season, and it's like, well, you spend an extra 10 and you get that stuff. It's that whole thing of what I've said before about Assassin's Creed as well. You know, buying the XP boost to make the game a better game. You shouldn't have to do that. Like, you shouldn't have to spend more money to get given a bit of a kickstart at the start of a new season in Ultimate Team. But we could probably gas about this for forever. So we will move on, and I've lost my list of topics because I've got the PlayStation Store up. So next up is we're talking about Halo. I'm going to be really off cuff here and go to Dan first and see what Dan has to say about this studio development that sees another high profile director leave 343.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that they brought up that he's Chris Lee, so the creative director, he's gone. Apparently this is the second in 2 years, plus another producer left. He's still a employee of Xbox and Microsoft. They haven't discussed what role that is, but he's still there. He's been there since 2008, and I think they're just trying to sort themselves out. I messaged you guys during the week. I I'm almost worried if the game comes out in 2021, to be honest. That's why I was my thoughts were just make it a 2022 game and just leave the Xbox One behind and just focus on just the Series X and the Series S and leave it be. I know we're about to talk about it with Cyberpunk in a sec, but I'll cherry pick off it a little bit. The fact that they came out yesterday and they said that we're working on 9 versions of the game at the moment, and and they're experiencing issues on the base versions of these current consoles. I don't want Halo to run into similar issues. Obviously, they're not making 9 versions of the freaking game, but they are possibly going to run into the similar issues if they're trying to widen that gap between an original Xbox One and the Series X. I reckon they should just do it, bring it out 2022 and just focus on Series X and Series S. That's pretty much all.
And how do you feel about this being a bit more connected to the Halo franchise?
Oh, it's just another hump, isn't it? It's like, all right. Just when you thought, oh, this is a bit of, cool, out a couple stumbles, but they're on track now. Oh, wait, no, they're not. Oh, they tripped up the step again. Oh, no. Like Chris Lee, like I kind of always saw his position there, and the way he talked about it was temporary anyway until they got someone on to take over properly. And when they pulled in, his name escapes me, John something, I think his name is, but he's of the original Halo era, like DNA campaign story stuff, and that in itself is a good thing. Like he's coming in to shepherd the campaign, and his pedigree with what he's done, it's like, well, maybe that's, the silver lining in all this, where Chris Lee just kind of held everything up until John was ready to come in and transition over to him. It's kind of how I always saw it. So it's not really a big deal. I think Chris was just there to kind of, we're going to delay the game. Like he was during the point of like, are we, aren't we? And then they go, we're going to do it. We're going to delay and then figure it out and hand it over. So I don't think it was ever kind of really hands-on with how things are actually progressing. It was just keeping it afloat. I could be totally wrong, but that was just my optics on it. But I think with John coming on, I was going to call him John, so I can't remember his name. I think with him coming on, it's
Staten.
What?
Staten. Joe Staten.
Joe Staten, cool.
He's revamping the single player direction as well as senior executive Pierre Hintze to oversee the multiplayer aspect of the game.
Yeah, so these guys know what they're doing, basically. So I think they'll be able to bring it home. I still think they could be on track for 2021. Like, considering what we saw, and if what they were saying was true, that it was a relatively older build of the game. And we've seen how much change can be made, where the first reveal of Assassin's Creed Valhalla in May or April, whatever it was. And then this month, when they released more like deep dive content for it, and it looks like a near drastic difference. So you can see like how much time a 6-month span can make for a game, like in polish. So I'm more optimistic that they'll hit the 2021. I don't think they'll push it back as far as they need to in 2022. That'll be a bit obtuse, I think, by that point. I think they've done enough damage where it's like, let's just put it out, even if it's just the single player and multiplayer can come later, because that's free to play anyway.
I think it'd be the other way around.
Beast. Yeah, you're probably right, but that's not all I want, and that's what matters. But like, I want my Halo.
I'm not saying it can't make 2021. I'm saying it might be better for the game to be 2022. That was more.
Well, I wish that they were building it just for the new consoles. I really do. I wish they would just be like, let's just forget about that base giant Xbox One. Like, if they're building for that, oh man, like if they can scale the engine well enough and it works, whatever. But yeah, I agree with you, Dan, on that aspect. And if they can do it next year, bizarre.
Yeah, I think the engine thing, because it's a brand new engine, isn't it? Well, it's rumored to still actually be based off the Tiger engine that Bungie built. So that's still rumored to be the base of this engine, although it
was built on the Slipstream engine they were toting about, the most powerful Slipstream engine.
Slipstream is supposed to be an evolution of Tiger, but it's
Cool.
not actually changed that much. Allegedly, again, this was all speculation that was happening around the fact of our Microsoft trying to help Bungie move to Slipstream for Destiny to bring it into the next generation and, you know, give it more scalability, etc. But that's kind of going off in a different direction. The only thing that I think with Halo, yeah, they've lost someone else, but again, like you said, Chunt, I think it was always in my brain that it was a temporary thing. I agree with Dan. I think they should shoot for 2022. They should drop current behemoth consoles and leave them behind, because they just can't keep up. And I think that should be a trend for a lot of developers. I think they should just start canning these old machines, because you're just going to be hampered by them for years on end. But the one thing that makes me think that you're probably right in terms of it's still coming this coming year, so in 2021, is and again, this kind of moves into a little topic that I didn't really forecast, but it kind of just naturally flows to it, so let's talk about it anyway. But if Microsoft don't launch Halo next year, I still don't see a first party title next year, and that's an issue. Like, what is coming? Because everything we've been told about is all completely dateless, and everything we know they're working on is still all completely dateless. Don't get me wrong, something of that catalog may well be ready, or they may well have a stealth drop to just go, you know, we've kept this under wraps and here it is for you, and it comes out in 3 days time or something stupid like that come E3 period of next year. But I really do not see, and Dan, I was talking with you about this week, I don't see an Xbox exclusive on the horizon. I don't see something I can't play anywhere else coming. Like, where is that? If it's not Halo next year, what is it? I don't know if you guys have got any thoughts on what that might be, but I think it has to be Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the developers that they like, the first party ones that they have at the moment. Double Fine, the next one they're doing is Psychonauts, which I think is going to everything anyway because of a pre-existing deal. The other thing we don't know is more like second party exclusives that we don't know about or hear about. Like at the start of the last generation, that's how PlayStation 4 got out a bunch of exclusives like The Order and Until Dawn and all them, because they were, and eventually Detroit Become Human, because they're all second party. So it's not always coming through first party. So they're probably ones that we haven't heard of yet, because they'll come out later. But I think in terms of the first party stuff for Microsoft, they've kind of already made the point that all their bigger games, so like your Hellblade 2, your Forza, whatever that's going to become, they're all 2022. They've already said that's when they will come. So yeah, next year they obviously want Halo, but they wanted Halo this year and they were willing to eat it to make the game better. So they might be willing to get through at least one more year before 2022 and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
You'd want to hope with 23 odd studios up their sleeve that, well, you know, to be 23 with ZeniMax, once that's finalized, you'd want to hope that it's like, yeah, look, amongst our family, we've got something, you know, that we can put out that's exclusive. I'd be optimistic in that. Like, there's so much stuff we just don't know what's happening in all those teams. And yeah, you're right. Like, nothing's really been solid dated, and everything keeps getting bumped anyway. Yeah. But yeah, whatever, man. I've still got a backlog to go.
It's just something that we don't do. Well, you and I don't do. Dan probably thinks about this, and then we just don't talk about it because it's not relevant to all of us. But it's something we don't praise Sony enough for. Like, we know what they've got coming, and we know what's coming next year, and it is going to blow anything that Microsoft could possibly put out next year out of the water, because we're still waiting for the dates for Fable, for Forza, for Senua's Saga, for all of these games that we want to play that are being made by Xbox Studios. But yeah, it's just, I hope that the next thing is like, oh, hey, we've got a sequel to Battletoads, or Bleeding Edge is getting a new patch and it's going to be great on series, because I don't care. Like, do you know what I mean? That's just kind of, that's what I was kind of more niggling at. You know, you look at Sony's slate, even for this year, launch period, like, yeah, they've got Demon's Souls and you can't play that anywhere else. All right, the Sackboy thing doesn't really interest me, and it's coming to PlayStation 4. Miles Morales is coming to PS4, but there is at least an experience that you can't have anywhere else. And then into next year with things like Horizon and supposedly God of War, although releasing those two games in the same year is stupid. They can hold one. It'd just be nice to know what Microsoft are doing on that front. I don't doubt that they're not going to, but it was just it was something that, as I said, kind of tangentially leans in from the Halo conversation.
I also thought about you this week too. Sorry, Jamie. I thought about you this week too with God of War, because I've pretty much come around to your way thinking that God of War will be on PS4 and PS5.
Yeah, definitely.
At the same time, which is really funny because the whole point is that made me think that you're not going to see. Well, I guess Demon's Souls is, but I don't think you're really going to see Sony pushing PlayStation 5 exclusive games until 2022, which is exactly the same thing as Microsoft's doing anyway. So
I think Demon's Souls is going somewhere else, because they messed their own messaging up, didn't they? But in saying, the original trailer said console exclusive, and then they backtracked that, and it's like, no, it's not, or timed exclusive was what the thing is. It's like, no, it's a console exclusive, and they walked it back. But it's weird that the marketing team, you don't get that wrong. Do you know what I mean? I feel like Sony are very clear on what's an exclusive and what isn't, because they like to harp on about it. So like the whole fact that it's that, is it an exclusive? Isn't it? It's going somewhere else. And yeah, as you said, PC's the most likely destination. So yeah, we'll move on anyway. Dan, you already touched on this a little bit. Cyberpunk, it got done a delay again. Yeah, this time the internet got mad, and fair enough. I don't think anybody's in a position to be mad enough to start giving death threats. These are just video games.
I say, is it fair enough?
Fair enough to start getting. I get the people that turn around and go, do you know what? Like, I've booked leave for this. I can't change that. Like, I'm now screwed. I don't get to do what I wanted to do with my annual leave, which is not given in enough abundance in a lot of countries around the world. I get people being angry at that. What I don't get people being angry at is, my video game's not coming out now. It's got to wait 30 more days in the oven, or 21 days, or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to be really pissed and salty about this and start telling, the developers that are spending all of their time away from their kids and their families to build me this game, and now it's going to take them a little bit longer, so fuck them. I'm going to kill them with Stanley knives. Like, it's just it's ridiculous, isn't it? Like, there's no world in which that is okay. But the delay, I did see some humor. I enjoyed the way that their social manager kind of started walking tweets back. I thought that was quite good. Like, is it too late to delete this? The conversation, if you guys saw it, literally the day before this happened, some guy was like, promise me no delays, I'm booking holiday, like no backseas, and they were like, no more delays. 24 hours later, it's like, you just feel for that person, don't you? Like, the person that is the community face, whoever's running their social channels, like, they've had a shit few days. But have you guys got any thoughts on this? I mean, mine are pretty simple. I'm happy to wait for it. It's actually better for me. It gives me more time to get through the Destiny expansion, to play Miles Morales, to give Demon's Souls a whirl, maybe Godfall if its reviews well. I've got time to actually play other games that are coming out in November, and then Cyberpunk can just pretty much be that game, over the Christmas period, where it's like I can sink a chunk of time into this over the course of that month and really enjoy it. So, John, what's your cyberpunk thoughts on the delay?
Oh, you don't want to know my deep secret thoughts. Look, I'm a bit disappointed in people, actually. Like, I know this year's been really crap for a lot of people, and it could have been that one thing that some of these people have been looking forward to, and it just keeps getting removed, or the goalposts keep getting moved on them. It might be all they've got, to look forward to. And, I kind of understand the mentality there. They get a bit shirty and pissed off. But what I'm really disappointed in is, considering that everything that's happening in the world, this is what it is. This is what tips them over to send death threats to people. It's not out of the ordinary. Like, this happens, and it shouldn't. But now, more than ever, I think people should have better perspective, and that's what I'm more disappointed in. I don't really care that the game's delayed. I don't really have a dog in this race, because I've got too many games. It's a good problem to have, and I've got 20 games or 15 games in my back catalogue or something I've got now, and I'm getting down there. But Valhalla, I've got more time to play that. I could Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk could be next year for all I care. I got too many games, but I do understand with the whole annual leave thing. That's shit, because I do know some people where it's happened, not for games, but they've booked time, and whatever event they were going to got cancelled or whatever, and they couldn't move their dates or redistribute their annual leave again. And that's crap, because all that time you've accrued is just gone, and then you've got to build it all up again. But yeah, I think I'm more just disappointed in the human element, considering the state of the world. I think people should have better perspective, but we all live in our own little micro lives lately, and it's sometimes it's hard to see the outside perspective. So whatever. I do feel for the developers, man. None of them deserve any of that, and that's a given. I shouldn't even have to say that, but whatever. I do just want to hope after all this the game's good. Yeah.
I'm sure it will be. And Dan, what's your Cyberpunk thoughts on the delay?
Cyber thoughts. My cyber thoughts are, I mean, I'm sort of used to this. Like, welcome to the world of being a Naughty Dog fan. Like, I'm used to the games just continually getting delayed. I did think to myself, like, wow, this game was meant to come out in May. Can you imagine if the game came out in May this year? Like, what the game would be like at that point. But this is why I also, as soon as I know a game, whether it's coming to current gen or not, I always will just play it on the next console, even if there wasn't like much of even if there's not much of an improvement, because it's just because what it sounds like is that the original, like the base PS4 version and the original Xbox One version are the consoles that are really having issue with it. Next gen PC is all fine. Xbox One X, they're all fine. But yeah, those initial ones. And yeah, as I said earlier, they made a comment in the investor call that they're making 9 versions of the game, which is all the Xbox One consoles, the PlayStation consoles, plus PC. And then the other thing I was thinking, and I understand getting upset, because I remember when Last of Us Part 2 came out on the Friday before my birthday, and the game didn't get delivered, and I had taken off the Friday and the Monday and the Tuesday, and with the game not getting there on the Friday, it meant it wasn't coming till the Monday, and I was planning this whole weekend and everything screwed up. So I understand it can be upsetting, but I didn't send death threats to Toll or Australia Post. Like, but they're just trying to deliver the thing that I want, and they stuffed up. Sometimes it's common sense, whatever, but you don't go to the devs. You don't go to like what's that going to do? Get it to you faster? No, they're already working hard on it. Some would say too much, and we don't have to get into that discussion. But they're working on it, and they've been working on this thing for 7 years or 6 years, in different states, and I bet you they love the game more than you want to play it. So leave them alone. That's all I have.
Exactly correct. There is no better way of putting that than just leave them alone, let them build the game, and let's all enjoy it when it finally comes out. Because
some of that Cyberpunk.
Yeah, there's no way, there's no world in which I think this game winds up being trash. Do you know what I mean? I think they're trying to be perfect, and perfectionists are often lambasted. There probably is a stage where it's passable to everyone, but those as the creators know that there are certain things wrong, and they want to iron them out. But yeah, without getting into the whole crunch subject, as we could go on even further. And speaking of people that do shady shit, there was a kind gentleman over at Stadia, Google's immensely successful cloud streaming platform, this week. His name eludes me, and to be honest, I don't really care what it is, because he can go suck an egg for all I care. Telling streamers he thinks that they should be paying developers royalties. Because
Alex Hutchinson.
Oh, is that his name?
Alex Hutchinson, Senior Creative Director for Google Stadia.
So that, as you can imagine, guys, went down like a lead balloon. Hey, streamers, pay us money because you make money out of our games. That's not how like creative licenses work, friendo. You don't see reviewers of movies, or I bet IGN don't have to pay developers for covering their games, etc. It is a purely separate entertainment platform that literally just takes a medium and monetizes it, which in my eyes is fine. Have you guys got what did you guys think of this when you saw it or heard about it? I literally just rolled my eyes and went, some other idiot that's got too much money and wants more money, trying to take it out of the pockets of little people, thinking that not every streamer is earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. That is a select upper echelon of a 0.1% of the 1% are earning that. There are people that are not making any money. So in that scenario, what, you want a streamer to pay you money to play your game? Done?
Yeah, it's just so disconnected and out of touch. Like, the industry and the landscape has changed so much, man. Like, you can't think like you used to with this kind of stuff. And it's near like a symbiotic relationship now, where it's like free advertising, where you've got someone who's playing to a crowd of 100 or 1,000 or several thousand people playing your game. Might just be the differentiator between them buying it or not. So that alone is worth what it should be to these developers and publishers, to getting their game out there for free marketing, basically. I don't. It's as simple as that. And for this guy to be like, "Yeah, you should be paying us." Excuse me, what game are you like? Do you have the biggest game in the world? And can you lock it down like that? Even if you did, you couldn't. Like, even Fortnite doesn't do that shit. It's free for everybody, and it's and because of it's free for everybody, everybody's playing it, and that's why it's the biggest game on the bloody planet. And if they started turning around going, "No, now you guys have to pay us for you to play it," no, it would just drop. No one would fucking play that thing. It would just disappear overnight. So yeah, I think this guy's way out of touch. And I think I saw a follow-up article where like Google's just like, or whoever it was like, who's that guy? What?
One of your senior executives is who that guy is.
Yeah, like they separate themselves or away from the messaging. Oh, we're not touching that shit. You're on your own, buddy.
You want to start really fires, old friend? You can fucking put them out yourself.
Yeah.
Dan, have you any thoughts on these outlandish comments?
Yeah, it's interesting with these type of discussions because, like Star Wars as a property for years have been like extremely good with like the fact like there's so many fan films out there and people just make whatever they want out of Star Wars, and it's never an issue. Even being owned by Disney, who can be very strict with stuff, Star Wars has always been left open. But then you get like Lord of the Rings, and the estate that owns that are really cracked down like on anything that you make with Lord of the Rings. They just don't allow it. I think I obviously land on the side of you guys, and there's an interesting discussion in there in terms of creative license and the subject of the fact like, okay, well, with streamers, like, what is the content they are creating, right? They obviously didn't create the game. They bought the game. Does it belong to them? Does it belong to the publishers? That's an interesting discussion. But when he came out and said what he said, he just sounded like an entitled prick. Like, there's no, like, the way that he, like, it's not like, it's like, oh, we should have a discussion about this. It's like, no, they should be paying us. Also, if you talk to the developers like of what's the game, Among Us and Fall Guys, like, I bet you they're not saying, oh yeah, we want the money that the streamers are getting playing our game. They're like, thank God streamers are around, because this is how our games got noticed, because people would continually watch them play the game over and over again. They're like, oh, I want to play that now. I'm sick of just watching this. I want to actually play it as well. And then they stream, and then it's like a flow-on effect. So I think there could be like an interesting discussion. I would obviously land on the side in the end of that, no, like, just let people play games. But like, there could have been a nuanced discussion, and he has no nuance in anything that he said, and I don't think he's very interested in it. So
let him cook. And we have a couple of things left. We'll get through these a little bit quicker. We've actually chewed up quite a chunk of time already. Some happier stuff though. It seems like press is all getting their consoles this week from both Sony and Microsoft. Interesting that Microsoft brought their date up for the embargo of unboxing the Xbox literally the day after PlayStation did it. They was like, yeah, you've seen the PlayStation, now you may as well see the Xbox. It's Dan's whole thing of when one blinks, the other one responds. But it's amazing, I think, to see the PlayStation in the wild. Like, for a long time we've been like very concerned by this and what's going wrong, because why don't they want people even that are in the presence of it touching it? Like that got me more than anything when they did that whole thing in Japan. It's like, you can play the game but you can't touch it. You cannot touch that machine. Like, why? Why? Like, there's something very shady going on here. But for the most part, it seems like the feedback from absolutely every outlet that's got access to both of the machines is largely happy with both of them, and they're both performing as intended. Chunt, when you said to me yesterday about the Digital Foundry cryptic line at the end of their presentation, and they literally, when it comes to performance, you don't trust anybody else on the planet other than those guys. They're meticulous with it, and that was a little bit cryptic at the end. So maybe just explore what we think what we think they're alluding to there. I take it, Dan, you've seen that as well.
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Well, to give you some context at the end, they kind of said obviously they can't talk about differences in performance or comparable performance of each machine. They're not allowed because embargoes are coming up, but they're not done now. And needless to say, there are going to be some surprises, that people are maybe not expecting, and they kind of just ended it there because they're not allowed to say anything else other than that.
With a bit of a laugh.
With quite a bit of a laugh. So I actually think this is going to play in Sony's favor. I think maybe the PlayStation 5 is keeping up much better than they expected, because I think having had access to the Xbox for far longer, which Digital Foundry have, they've obviously put it through its paces with its back compat and things like that. And it was a bit weird because it was quite a PlayStation focused video actually. In the end, they were talking a lot about the controller and Astro's Playroom as everybody else was, but when those guys sit there and go, yeah, this is pretty ridiculous and there's some unexpected things that we're discovering, you kind of have to, and when they're, as Chunt said, when they're kind of laughing about it, like, you have to think that there's more behind that. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they kind of pan out. But have you guys seen a lot of this coverage this week, the whole unboxing shenanigans?
Yeah,
I know we've spoken about the whole, it looks like PlayStation basically recycled their packaging from like PlayStation 2 era and just reboxed everything. Good for the planet, but not a very
more cardboard though.
Yeah, not a very luxurious unboxing experience. Whereas Microsoft have gone for the nice cut out in an odd shape, and the finesse of the tissue paper wrapping on the machine, making it feel like a luxury product. Some would say taking leaves out of Apple's book, but what's your thoughts, Dan? You can go first on this one.
Well, I'll start off with like a slightly negative thing. Just the reaction of overexcited fanboys, and it's really frustrating, and it's happening for both Xbox and Sony people, because you have Xbox people talking about like the PlayStation, and they're just hammering on like the Xbox Series X is better because it's smaller. And then, which it's like, okay, if you're excited about the Series X, just play the Series X. But then on the other side, you have all the Sony people being like, it's not that big, it's not this, it's not that. And I'm sitting here thinking like, dude, literally, it's humongous. Laugh about it and then just play the fucking console. It doesn't matter. Like it is hilariously big. Like all these unboxings, and you've seen all the photos of it put next to all the other consoles, and I honestly just giggle every single time. But Chunt will put up stuff about how big it is, and most of my reactions is just like I laugh, and then I'm like, and then my next response is I'm so excited. Like it's it's just been frustrating. Like, people just get excited about the thing that you want to play. If you don't want to play the PlayStation 5, then let it be. Like, it literally does not affect you. But apart from that, I think I watched like 10 unboxings of the PlayStation 5 and probably 5 of the Series X. And I think there's a couple of Series S, but there's more Series X ones out there. And it's just so cool. I'm just so excited. I'm glad that like HDMI 2.1 cables are coming with it. I was like, that's awesome, because I was researching 2.1 HDMI cables the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to spend $20 on one of these things, but it comes with it. That's great. And I'm excited about the response on the controller. That I can't wait to get my hands on that. And yeah, there's going to be probably between this week and next week, there's going to be a little bit more information on both. So yeah, it's just excited to hear more.
Exciting times. The controller does seem to be the focal point of absolutely the whole PR industry. They're all really rallying around it, saying like, this is what makes this console next generation. Forget graphics. Like, what they're doing with the controller is pretty special, which
if developers use it.
Yeah, if the developers use it, which, you know, we saw with the haptic feedback in the Xbox One controller way back when. It didn't see mass adoption because it wasn't available on every platform. And this time we run into a similar thing. It sounds like absolutely amazing technology, but because Xbox seemed to have just gone, yeah, the haptic feedback's still there, but, you know, the suspension triggers and what do they call them? The adaptive triggers. Like, all that kind of stuff is not built into an Xbox controller. Like, you know, on an Elite, you can adjust the tension yourself, but that's manual adjustment. Do you know what I mean? It's not actually being done by the game or by the developers for you. So we'll see how that one goes. Chunt, what's your unboxing galore experience this week?
Yeah, look, I said I was going to try and save myself for wedding night, but I ended up, you know, peering through the looking glass a little bit and saw some naughty bits, didn't I? And it was good.
They really showed you that box.
Oh yeah, they did, and it's just like God's gift. And yeah, look, I am a bit surprised by the Series X packaging. Like, I know a lot of people are like, it's just a box, get over it. It's like, man, but like I said to you guys, if I'm not paying $750. I'm paying fuck all for my console. But still, it's like, if I'm using the equivalent of $750 for something, I want it to come in some kind of premium packaging for that whole experience. Like, I'm all about that. Even when the original Xbox One came out, midnight launch, I was there, I came home, put it on the table, open it up, and, you know, it's just the new fucking generations right here in front of me, like that whole experience. I'm all about it. I don't care. These people are like, it's just a box, you got to throw it out anyway. So you're just an uncultured swine. Get over it. But and then you look at the PS5 packaging, and I was like, wow, okay. All right, cool. I mean, it gets the job done, I guess, but not my kind of experience that I wanted. I felt the same with the PS4 when I got that, and the Switch kind of isn't really there either. It is what it is, but
egg boxes and cardboard.
Sorry, what?
Egg boxes and cardboard.
Yeah, basically. But then you look at the Series S unboxing, and I was like, whoa. But it's on the cusp of being like, well, that's not cool, but it's tightly packed, I guess. You know, it looks secure, and they've still got the tabletop opening thing. Yeah, whatever. It is the budget unit. I'll give it that. But anyway, yeah, look, I'm super excited for it. It's I can't wait for it to arrive. But you just have to see the banter online. Like, I stoke the fires a lot. I know I do, because I love it.
Yeah, you do.
You know, it's just like, I know if I do this, I'm gonna get this result, and it's that endorphin effect when I get it. You know, because it's so easy. But like, I don't follow a lot of the PlayStation accounts. Like, I follow like a lot of the main kind of people that cover Xbox and like rumors, and the people that have sources that usually are true. I follow those ones. So I just stick my nose out of it. But even then, you get all these Sony guys coming in and like being all tribalistic about it. And it's like, mate, fuck off. I want to hear the rumors and all this kind of shit, you know? And it's embarrassing, but it happens. It's a cycle, man. It's a cyclical thing. Every like 7 years, it's going to be the same thing. The same thing happened last time and the time before that, forever, you know? And it's like, when we're all got our boxes at home and we're not on our phones because loading times are so fast now, we don't have time to put our phones in front of our face. No one's going to give a shit. It's just going to be like dead silence for a while. Everybody's just playing their shit. But yeah, look, the 10th can't come soon enough, and I'm looking forward to playing my old games on a new box.
I read a really funny thing on Twitter today. They're like, I was trying to explain what SSD is to someone that's a non-gamer, and I said it's like baking something in the oven without having to preheat it, and they're like, so it's a microwave. And I was like, what?
Quite an ingenious anecdote. And on that anecdote, we've hit our hour, boys. So I was going to touch on the Bungie Vidoc, but Chunt, you and I spoke about that offline, and we're both
What's
happy
Bungie?
to see what day
Chainsaw
that's
swords.
going. Chainsaw swords, massive changes to the economy. When you start the next expansion, Chunt, you will be bumped up to 1050 power, so you'll be at a good starting cadence. So good news all around. But no, I love it when they do those things. Like they spend a good between 8 and 15 minutes just getting people hyped for the expansion, which they've been very quiet because it was obviously delayed from September to November. But yeah, that's their day one for you, mate. So you can play that. Not in its enhanced version. You have to wait to December for the enhanced version, but you can play that expansion for some story with your new shiny Xbox on the 10th.
Hell yeah, man.
So yeah, not long to wait, boys. We've got 12 days till the Series X, and well, you've got 12, 13, 14 days for the
14 for the PS5,
and I've got 19 for the PS5. Because for some reason we get it a week later.
That means I'm hosting the week that Chunt and I have the consoles in hand.
You are. Good fun.
Nice.
Lots to look forward to, boys. Anyway, and we will see you guys next week.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Wash your hands.